have seen. Everybody was comparing it to Fran, but I think if it had hit and run like it was supposed to, it would have been worse than Fran, and plus the flooding of Matthew probably. But while we got lucky, and we dodged a bullet, we had our issues. Some of our friends did not, especially our friends down east. But before we get to the friends down east, we had folks to come in and spend the night while their families are at home, work in our emergency operations center, work in our operations center, work at our plants. And it's many of the folks in this room that came in and spend the night leaving your families at home. And I really want to thank you for that. We have a really high charge with our job. And people take it for granted that when the lights go out, the water's still going to be on. And that's a good thing for us because we're so reliable. We want them to continue to think that. We're okay with them going and buying a couple cases of water, because if it had hit like it would have hit, it could have been bad. We could have lost our plants. At one point, we were out of power at the wastewater plant, and our fuel supplier says the oil terminals are closed and we're out of fuel and we're not bringing you any fuel. So we were on our own. We thought we were going to run out of fuel at the wastewater plant. We only have 2 days worth of fuel when we go on generators. We were able to work it out and get some fuel, but that's the kind of things that could have happened. Our water plants can run about 5 to 6 days without new fuel, but it's a little scary when you get in those situations. But we were ready, and I'm really proud of y'all. So thanks to everybody who came in and spent the night, worked long shifts over and over, didn't go home, and helped make sure that our citizens had safe, clean, reliable drinking water. Talking about our friends down east that were less fortunate than us, we sent a crew down to Onslow County to help our friends in Onwassa out who were devastated. So I'd like to recognize that team right now. In addition to Jason Martin, who led our efforts down there, I'd like for the following folks to stand up, please. Marty Hall. Where you at, Marty? Anthony Creech. William Barton. Jackson Leggett. You guys are all right tight together. And David Garman. Where you at, David? Thank you so much. Thank you. This team volunteered to go down to Onwassa, to leave their families at home after a hurricane, to go help others. Not always knowing exactly what we're getting into when we go down east and things are bad and power's out. We got our lights here, but we don't know what it's like down there. Fortunately, our friends in Onwassa set us up and took care of you. And today we have with us, and I believe I feel the same way, that the director for Onwassa, Jeff Hudson, is so grateful for what you did for them that he came up today. He came up last night and spent the night so he could be here this morning to talk to us and share some thoughts with us. So with that, Jeff, if you don't mind, I would like to turn the floor over to you and have at it. And before you do that, I want to make you an honorary member of the Raleigh Waterhammers.
All right.
Okay. And you're probably not an Excel, but it's got you a Keep Calm and Drink Tap Water T-shirt just
like
as a
that.
token. It's a leftover, but
My wife says I am too. Thank you all very much.
in one of our water bottles. But welcome, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Robin. Good morning.
Good morning.
I tell you what, I felt right at home when I came in the parking lot in my F-150 and saw a whole parking lot full of full-size pickups, all carefully backed into spaces. And I knew, hey, I'm among friends here. So thank you very much. I wanted to come up and talk to you a little bit about what happened down in Onslow County, which is my home, and show you a little bit. I believe that pictures are very helpful to convey a message. And so before the storm, of course, this is what we saw. Now, I've seen things like this a long time. I'm a 25-year public servant. I'm a recovering city and county manager. And so in the last phase of my public life, I've gotten into utilities, and it is wonderful. But back when I was responding to Bertha and Fran, I saw pictures that didn't quite look like this. This hurricane looks too far north to impact us. We had all these models from the National Hurricane Center, and probably it'll go north. And if you're seeing a hurricane come toward you, you don't want to be on the northeast quadrant, because with a counterclockwise circulation, that's not where you want to be. You'd rather be somewhere else. So while I wouldn't wish a hurricane on anyone, I was thinking keep on going north. Keep on going north. Turn right. Go out to sea. But, thinking this. That's not what happened. So it started heading west, and we started, of course, we've been preparing. We started preparing even harder. Our county EOC issued a mandatory evacuation. We were in agreement with that, certainly. One thing as a utility, the less population stays in an area, the less you have to serve afterwards with an unknown amount of resources and infrastructure. We didn't know what would survive a Category 4 with sustained winds of 140 miles an hour, moving as slow as it was, coming toward us. So of course, we started our planning. Upper left corner is our little command center. My leadership team and I started looking at our logistics. We had just this year had a tabletop exercise and a full-scale field exercise of response to a hurricane. So we knew what we were doing, a damage assessment. We knew what we would have to gather, but we also knew that we had limited resources. Down below, our damage assessment team leaders started meeting, trying to figure out where we're going to go. And what did they see after the hurricane when they finally got there? Now, for the team that responded from Raleigh and from Greenville and from Wilson that went to Topsail Island, this is what they saw. Topsail Island is a barrier island, 26 miles long, 13 miles, the north 13, in Onslow County, the south 13 in Pender County. We serve all of the north. Basically on Owasso, we serve about 150,000 individuals, including everybody on Topsail Island from Surf City, part of Surf City North. So you see here, overwash, lots of sand, and then of course the street looks better, right? Well, the first thing that local government does is, for emergency access, clear the street. Where do they put the sand? Over the fire hydrants, over all of our services, everywhere. What do we have to do to restore service? Get into that. So, of course, we did. Team from Greenville, team from Wilson all helped. Of course, we also had a whole lot of help trying to uncover our vaults, our boxes. But then we had inland. Now, the wonderful thing about Florence was that it stayed with us so long, Actually, I was over at a Board of Education meeting, and one of the people at Board of Education said, you would have a Category 1, a Category 2 storm, and on the coast we're used to that, and we would say, hey, it's going to come in, it's going to hit 12 hours, it'll be gone. Well, what do you do when you have a storm that comes in and stays with you 3-4 days? Is that really one storm, or is it like a succession of a Category 1 hit, followed by a Category 1 hit, followed by a Category 1 hit, followed by a Category 2 hit? 4 storms in a row happening at the same time. Well, we recorded between 30 and 50 inches of rainfall when that storm came in. And that rainfall happened at the same time that counterclockwise circulation started moving southward toward New Hanover County. At one point in the storm, the counterclockwise circulation lined up perfectly with the New River Inlet. The New River Inlet then started running the wrong way. And so the water backed up effectively, creating a water dam in inland Onslow County. Now, we don't have flooding like other places. Our county is very unique. It has great topography for the most part. We're like a bowl. New River begins and ends inside Onslow County. We don't drain any inland counties. We're not like the Cape Fear or the Tar or some of those other rivers that drain 20 counties before it gets to us. But when you have a hurricane that pushed all the water in the New River inland and 30 to 50 inches of rain falling that's trying to go the other way, you end up with this, a $57 million sewer plant underwater. 2 men there had to be evacuated by swiftwater rescue. They got out safely. We were able to get back a couple days later after the water subsided. The Greenville team, the Greenville Warren team, stayed there about 9 days helping us. Every motor, every electronic control under 4 feet of water in this plant, fried. Yesterday morning I made a presentation to my board of directors and we passed around a circuit board, and you could see physically this is what happens when you submerge electronics while they've still got juice running to them. So it was a powerful message to the board. Beyond that, we dealt with washouts. Dozens of washouts, dozens of main breaks. I understand you had a big main break season. We had a big main break 2 weeks. Of course, after that, DOT has come through. They're backfilling. We're finding more issues. We have aerial crossings. Onwassa was created we're fairly unique. We're an authority, but we were a creation of multiple units of local government utilities that all came together. So we have what I call legacy systems. We've got old aerial crossings. One of my goals is to replace those with directional bores. You know, I tell you what, these things and their pylons don't stand up very well to an oak tree coming down river with the force of a flood behind it. So we have some work to do there. Road washouts. So all of that work happened. Now, I would like to say, first of all, I have a fantastic team. In Onslow County, you know, we pride ourselves on real honestly, kind of being tough. We're the home of the United States Marine Corps, and I'll say more about that in a few minutes. But we've got fantastic team members. You had team members that stayed. I had team members that lost everything in their homes and stayed. Maybe this isn't quite by the book, but let me tell you how I feel. If a man shows up at Onwassa and he shows up just before the storm and says, you know, my family lives in Surf City on the island, and my wife and my 8-year-old son, they don't have anywhere else to go. It's just before the storm. You have to have me here. I need the peace of mind knowing they're going to be okay. Well, we had some shelters open after the fact. Generally, it was a mandatory evacuation. We told everyone, go. You think I turned those people away? Absolutely not. So, in addition to having one of my crew members there, my superintendent of distribution collections, his wife and his little 8-year-old son, Nate, we badged him. We put him in an Onwassa shirt. Nate became an honorary employee of Onwassa. His wife started helping prepare meals. Just did anything they could. They were safe. Matt Padgett had a clear mind. He was able to support his crews. We're a family. But all the resources of our family wasn't enough. And so when we're looking down the barrel of a Category 4, 140-mile-an-hour winds, unknown amounts of rain moving at 3 miles an hour, knowing that we have this duty to serve our public, we got through it, and then I called for help. I called for help remembering that just a year ago, we answered a call. When Florida was hit in the Keys, I sent a team to Florida along with the city of Jacksonville. It was a joint team, and we represented North Carolina, and they responded to Big Pine Key, and they got a lot of experience in the Florida Keys digging out after Hurricane Irene. Little did I know that 1 year later, in fact, on my phone, you know, that Facebook 1 year ago kind of stuff popped up. 1 year ago was my Facebook Live of us welcoming back our team members from Florida, thanking them for their service in Florida. Little did I know that I would be needing the same help. But Raleigh stepped up, and as one of my employees put it, when you came, you came. Greenville helped, and Wilson helped. And before these guys left, I was outside. What you can't see in these pictures with Raleigh, Wilson, and Greenville is behind me is all of the employees that could gather. Some were out in the field, but all the employees that could gather were behind us. And you guys remember, you were there. And this is what I told your team. And I want to tell all of you. When you came with people. And you came with equipment, and you came with materials, things that we couldn't get, as we were cut off with floodwaters on every road. I-40, Highway 53, Highway 17, Highway 258. You couldn't get to Onslow County unless you were in a big amphibious vehicle or you dropped in by plane. So you came with things, but you also came with something that you couldn't see on the yard behind our operations center. You came with relief. You came with hope. My crews had been out there working as hard as they could work, with losses at home, separated from their families for days. And they needed relief. And so you brought that with you. And the place that you came to, it is my home. It's the home, we like to call it the home of heroes, the community of heroes, the Marine Corps. And while those Marines are overseas defending our freedoms, their families are there in Onslow County. Over 45,000 active duty Marines, additional naval personnel, Coast Guard personnel. All those families are there and they needed help, and you helped us. And we thank you for that. So as you left Onslow County, and today I'm telling you, when you all came and responded to us, I want you to know that you're leaving this event, if you will, with a couple things. You're leaving with some experience in how to respond in a coastal environment, in disaster or post-disaster situations. So you're leaving with experience. You're leaving certainly with our thanks, and that's one of the reasons, primary reason I'm here today. But I also told Jason and your crew, even Squirrel, I told them that you're also leaving with a promise, Robert, a promise from Onawassa. God forbid you ever go through the devastation that we just went through. But I will tell you this, if you do, and you call for Onawassa, if the Lord wills it, we will be here to help you at any time. And I thank you. So with that, Robert, I want to give something to you guys.
Oh, I want to thank you for saying that. That means a lot. The Onslow County team, come up, please. The guys that went down to Onslow. Jason. Deb. Squirrel. I've learned something today. Marty. Yeah, I've learned something today. All right, how do you want to do this?
Well, I need to tell you a little something, because you're not going to understand this if I don't tell you one other thing. First of all, let me caveat this by saying I have never served in the Marine Corps. I am not a Marine, but I have grown up in a community of Marines. And as I said, we're a community of heroes. And being in that community with many of my friends my entire life, either their parents or them being in the Marine Corps, people I go to church with, just being part of that culture, I knew about a special recognition that's given among Marines and is sometimes given to others by Marine Corps units or law enforcement, first responders. And so we planned something pretty special. Reconnaissance Marines, when they go into training, are issued their weapon, their knife, their fins, their mask, and they go through a rigorous course of training. They're also given a paddle. They have to carry that paddle with them throughout their training. It becomes worn, it becomes battered, just like they do. And at the end, they look back at that paddle and they know, as a remembrance, if you will, what they've been through. They often will decorate it with paracord because of the nature of the Marine Corps, to be able to go anywhere on the face of this planet quickly, whether by air or whether by water. I see a young lady shaking her head. She knows what I'm talking about. And so, Marines, Recon Marines, it started with Recon Marines and then it expanded from there, will occasionally give full-size paddles to each other, and to those that are not Marines or those that help in an extraordinary way, they will give a smaller version, a ceremonial version. Now, oftentimes, that paddle will be decorated with paracord. Paracord, that is the colors of their unit. Now, I will tell you, as a North Carolina public servant from Onawassa, standing with these people from Raleigh, with you, we don't have unit colors, do we? We're water, we're wastewater, we're public utilities, but we don't have unit colors. But we are all Americans. On behalf of a community of heroes, I want to present the City of Raleigh with this paddle. Presented to the City of Raleigh Public Utilities for assistance following Hurricane Florence, given by Onwassa, 2018. God bless all of you. And gentlemen, thank you for your help.
This is awesome. Does this make the hair on your head stand up, the hair on your arm stand up? It does me. This means a lot, Jeff. This means a lot just acknowledging this. And this is not what it's all about, but we appreciate this. So, Jason, why don't you hang on to this, and you guys keep this in water distribution. Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much.